Sorry, am I missing something here? Reports that BBC star Huw Edwards is in hospital and receiving treatment for mental health issues are deeply concerning, and we wish him a speedy recovery. And I relish him giving his side of the story. But the usual suspect woke commentators, who can always be relied upon to pick the wrong side of any argument, seem to be rallying behind the beleaguered star, who, let's not forget, is now subject to 7 serious allegations, which hitherto have not been deemed illegal by the police, but most of which, if proven true, would lead to his certain suspension, if not sacking. Jon Sopel, the ex-BBC presenter and co-host of the hit podcast The Newsagents, the preferred habitat of ex-BBC lefties, has gone into bat for Edwards, dismissing these serious allegations as evidence of a complicated private life. And he's worried about the motivations of the Sun newspaper. Why are these journalists so keen to obstruct the work of others in their profession? I hope it's not politics. Here is Sopel, who I do admire as a broadcaster, doing the rounds earlier today.
And so you're thinking, well, what has this all been about? And it has exacted a terrible toll on him as a result of the reporting. As a report, I would also say that I think some of my colleagues in BBC News need to look at themselves.
I think it would be a crying shame if this is the last we see of Huw Edwards on television, when the allegations have turned out to be not that much.
I think there are a number of people in the tabloid press, and dare I say it, in BBC News, who need to give themselves a good, hard look in the mirror.
Do these people live in a parallel universe? What has this all been about? Allegations that amount to not that much. This is willful blindness and selective morality from the Be Kind crowd, who specialise in double standards. If it was a Tory MP, game over. Now, in that clip, he says allegations that amounted to not that much. Not that much. The claim that the face of BBC News, the man who fronted the Queen's funeral and the King's coronation, paid a youngster decades younger than him 35 grand for pornographic images. A youngster whose parents claim is addicted to drugs and worry that they'll kill them. Allegations that amount to not that much. How can an excellent and experienced journalist like Sopel not be curious how this young alleged victim, who has denied the story, is managing to pay for a top firm of London lawyers? It's not coming out of their pocket money, is it? Look, all of this could turn out to be a non-event, and Edwards is eventually back on telly. Happy days. I've always thought he was great. But ultimately, Sopel and others risk being seen to cast doubt over the testimony of concerned parents, and seem to dismiss the fact that the BBC itself have published their own egregious set of allegations in relation to the star. According to the Beeb's own reporting, one of the youngsters alleges they were put under pressure to meet up. When the young person hinted online they might name the presenter, they claim they were sent abusive, expletive-filled messages. The young person said they'd been scared by the power the presenter held. They said the threats made in the messages, which have been seen and verified by BBC News, had frightened them, and they remain scared. Seen and verified by the BBC. Frightened and scared. So much for allegations that amount to not that much. It goes on. The growing tally of alleged victims is now 7, with former colleagues at the Beeb complaining about inappropriate behaviour, a power imbalance and flirty or creepy texts from the star. Not reported by the super sore-away Sun folks, who these commentators would clearly love to see the back of, but by the BBC 6 o'clock news, which last time I checked wasn't an offshoot of the gutter press or owned by Rupert Murdoch. Check this out from the ex-editor of The Sun, David Yelland, who has clearly been on quite the political journey since he left the paper. He tweeted, "Today is not the end for Huw, it is the beginning," with bizarre love heart emojis. They've all been at it. Alan Rusbridger, a man famous for decimating the circulation of the once great Guardian newspaper, in the tank for Edwards before he was even named, with the following dismissive tweet, which in my view gaslights the presenter's alleged victims. Take a look at this. He said, "Famous person uses dating app. Linked up with an adult, nothing comes of it, they never meet. The adult threatens to write about it online. Famous person is very angry. Lead item on BBC News." Well, I think it's heroic that the Beeb has reported its own crisis in such an impartial way, and it raises their esteem in my eyes. BBC journalists, including those on Newsnight yesterday, have been mightily brave, and it puts paid to the idea that this is some kind of agenda by the Sun newspaper. We wish Huw Edwards well and pray for a speedy recovery, and he has the right to fully defend himself. But what we're seeing right now is the pompous, woke, negroni swilling establishment media elite closing ranks and protecting their own, as they always do. But the alleged victims, 7 and counting, must have a voice too.